Hi, my name's Sarah Sampson, and I lead social emotional learning and mindfulness integration for Present Moment Labs. At Present Moment Labs, we bring training, consultation, and educational materials to really support the whole school integration of social emotional learning and mindfulness. This is really my passion and my heart. So I'm thrilled to take a couple of moments today just to connect with you and show you a few things we may be able to offer your campus and your district. So I actually come from a district where I led the implementation of social emotional learning and mindfulness for over 34,000 students. And a lot of my discovery and my work in that leading of the implementation was how do we make this accessible for our teachers? And I know that oftentimes social emotional learning and mindfulness can feel like one more thing we're putting on our teachers' plates. And through the practical skills and the accessibility that I'm going to share with you a bit today, I hope to empower teachers to see that social emotional learning can be the plate that we put everything else on top of. So at Present Moment Labs, we've been sharing trainings and consultation as well as educational materials nationwide, but with a lot of focus on Texas and the DFW area. So I'm going to show you a couple of things that we have to offer today, including our deck of SEL and mindfulness cards that make it very accessible to bring these practices out into the classroom, as well as our teacher's guide, which supports teachers in the implementation. The teacher's guide begins very simply right away with the teacher themselves, their personal practice, because we know that SEL and mindfulness start with you. Yes, you, the educator, the counselor, the administrator, the adult who's bringing these practices to the classroom environment, to the school environment. This has to become a part of your practice and your world first. So we start there. We focus on the SEL3 essential practices to bring these into the everyday thumbprints of teaching and learning. So we have cards that fulfill this welcoming and inclusion practice. So how we're starting the school day, or maybe how we're starting our Zoom call in a virtual environment, or for a secondary classroom, how we're starting our class period. We work with engaging strategies, the second SEL essential practice, which looks at brain breaks, transitions, how we're moving from one thing to the next, how we're making ties to academic learning, and how we're building relationships in those discipline moments. And the last one, the optimistic closure, looks at how we're finishing our school day or our Zoom call or our class period intentionally so that we leave our students on a positive note and they're beginning to build that positive relationship to the learning environment. So I'm going to show you just a couple of our materials today as far as our cards and our teacher's guide. So you can see here, these are our teacher's guide, just the brief introduction here. And I wanted to show you just an example of a card itself. So here's Circle Up. And one of the things you'll see with Circle Up is some icons down at the bottom. Our entire body of work is castle aligned, and we have these cards icon to represent that. So down at the bottom, you'll see first a chair, which represents the location, and then underneath, those icons represent the core competency of social awareness and relationship skills. So Circle Up is a welcoming and inclusion practice. And within the guide itself, we also offer extensions that go a little bit deeper into the practice itself, explaining how the core competency is coming through the card, as well as extensions and exercises to take the card a little bit deeper. The cards also include those equity and inclusion extensions so that we can make sure that we're intentional in building those skills. So as each card becomes castle aligned, we make sure that teachers are clear what skill they're bringing out into their classroom with each practice, as well as suggestions on which locations these cards might fit best within, all in service of making social emotional learning and mindfulness highly accessible for our teachers to bring into their classroom environments. So just to leave you today with one of my favorite exercises, it's called Bear Hug. Bear Hug shows us that our bodies tactily actually don't know the difference between a hug someone else is giving us or a hug that we're giving someone else. And so when we give a hug to ourselves, we're actually tricking our brains into the fact that we're receiving a hug. And I know that many of us are not getting as much hugs as we might hope for. So you can do this exercise with me quickly by just taking a big deep breath and taking your arms out wide. And on the exhale, just giving yourself a big deep hug. Often with students in Zoom rooms, I'll have them find the eyes of someone else in the Zoom room they might like to give a hug and share this moment with them. So to wrap out, I'll just leave you with a few of our details. So you can contact me for more information at sarah@presentmomentlabs.com. We'd love to bring SEL and mindfulness to your campus in your district. And for more information about our cards and guide, you can visit presentmomentlabs.com. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day.